Okay, here we go. Good evening, everyone. It's May 21st, 2013. Notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the prayer and flag salute.
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In the event of an emergency, the proper method for exiting the council chambers is through the three rear doors. Occupants should proceed down the staircase, out the front door, and move away from the area of the front steps. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please sign in on the white sheets provided in the front of the room. Please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate. If you must take a call, please leave the council chambers to do so. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Colbus.
Here.
Koziel. Here. Brown.
Here.
Armstead.
Here.
Cosby Hurling.
Here.
Sadowski.
Here.
Sheehy.
Here.
Yamakaitis.
Here.
Medina.
Here.
Kaczynski.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here. Mr. Clerk, would you read the vacancies that we have for the people at home that may be interested in volunteering for these positions?
Hang on one second, Mr. President. Board of Adjustment. There are currently 2 vacant positions for a member of the Board of Adjustment, otherwise known as the Zoning Board. While there is no legal requirement that the alternate members of the board move up in position, that has been the practice followed in Linden. So a citizen needs to fill out a citizen service form and turn it into my office. There are 3 current vacant positions on the Rent Leveling Board. The first is that of a tenant member. The second is that of a landlord member, which means owning property in the city consisting of 4 or more units, or their managing agent, or other designated representatives approved by council. And 3, the third vacancy is for a resident of the city who is not classified as a landlord or tenant.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I'd like to move into the approval of the minutes. Ask for a motion for the meeting of April 16th, 2013, April 23rd, 2013. Motion, please.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting of April 16th.
I second.
Mr. Colbus.
Yes.
It's also the 23rd.
Scout Government Day.
Oh,
Jack.
I'm sorry. And Scout Government Day, April 23rd.
Mr. Colbus.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Tonight we have a presentation to the Good Samaritan Community Center by the Mayor Kabunka and Mrs. Cosby Hurling and Mrs. Yamakaitis. Would you please go down and make the presentation, please?
Must was Mr. Mayor. All right. Can I introduce you?
Yeah, I'm going to just say a word, and then you could run the show. Okay. It's always an honor to recognize organizations that work for the common good and the benefit of residents of the city of Linden. And that's what the Good Samaritan Community Center does. And we're going to recognize them tonight with a resolution, which I'd like to turn over to Councilwoman Cosby Hurling.
Well, thank you. Good evening. And standing here, we have the executive board of the Good Samaritan Community Center, which some of them live in the 5th Ward, and we've worked with them, Councilwoman Yamakaitis and myself, last year on community service events, and, just to see them in the community giving away food and trying to link up with other nonprofit organizations was something I thought needed to be recognized. This month, actually this weekend just passed, was the celebration for the Haitian Flag Day, and this organization is not just for Haitian community, but it was started in the Haitian community and has advanced throughout the entire community in all of the city of Linden. So we thought it was appropriate at this time to recognize them because they've been, serving the community for the last several years, and I want to say to them, thank you very much, and we appreciate all that you all have done for the community. Fino, I want you to come and I want you to say something in French and in English, just about what you got, what your mission is, so that everybody's clear. Again, it's a nonprofit and it's incorporated by the state of New Jersey. And as everyone knows, I believe wholeheartedly in community service. So again, thank you for all that you do. This is a resolution and it's long. So I was trying to get the mayor to read it when he gave it to me. So we'll have the resolution and its signs are ready and it's on for tonight. But I'm sure it will be approved 100%. But again, say something to the community about what your mission is for your organization.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, we would like to thank Ms. Washana and the mayor and the team for backing us 100% with our program. This is the leaders of the community, Good Samaritan Community Center. We're right here in Linden, and our whole purpose is to feed the community, to educate, like the banner says, for youth recreation, to give them a place so youth can be youth, and of course, to go all around. Wherever the needs are, this is where we need to be. And, say French too? Notre organisation est une organisation de communauté et nous sommes ici pour préparer les autres dans la chambre, dans la cité de Linden, afin de donner à tous ceux qui ont grand besoin de notre aide. Nous sommes ici pour les aider. Anyone else?
Councilwoman?
Yes, this organization really got its start right after the earthquake in Haiti. They came forward as a church community to help out the people in Haiti, and they've continued ever since. So I'd like to thank them for all their help to the city.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd like to move into ordinance continued from April 16th, 2013 meeting. Public hearing was held on ordinance 5720, police table of organization, and 5721, fire department table of organization. Matter needs to be continued to June meeting. Therefore, I ask for a motion to table to the June meeting on 5720. Motion, please.
Council President, make a motion to table ordinance 57-20 and seek a second.
Second.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5721, the table, fire department table of organization. Motion, please.
Council President, make a motion to table ordinance 57-21 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Ordinance on hearing. We did receive correspondence from the President of PBA Local Number 42, for which all council persons have received a copy. And we'll move into ordinance on hearing. This is the date and time established for public hearing for ordinance on hearing, 5722.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, as follows. Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations. 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add 18 East Curtis Street.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Thank you, Council President. I ask ordinance 57-22 be closed and adopted and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5723, Mr. Clerk.
An ordinance creating a residential overnight parking permit for certain areas.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone in the audience wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I ask for a motion, please.
Thank you, Council President. Ordinance 57-23. I ask ordinance to be passed and closed and seek for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5725.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration, and Chapters 16, Solid Waste Management as follows. Section 16-8 shall be amended as follows. Delete Section 16-8 Reserved, add Section 16-8 Garbage Collection Annual Charges as follows. 16-8.1 Fee Schedule per residential dwelling unit, $10 per month. Per commercial industrial unit, $30 per month.
Mr. Clerk, has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes.
Have we received any written communication?
No.
Council President, make a motion to table ordinance 57-25 and seek its second.
Second.
Has anybody in the audience wished to be heard on this ordinance? Mr. Sharpton. 3 minutes, please.
Yes, Paul Shelby, residing at 315 Second Avenue. I'd like to have a straw poll with the council on how they feel. I have a home in another state, and I do pay a garbage fee over there. And it amounts to $42 every 3 months. And I get garbage pickup once a week. I have the same size house up there as I have here in Linden. So I would like to have a straw vote of the present city council to let the public know how they are going to vote. That's all I have to ask.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience? Miss Pat Hero? 3 minutes, please.
First, I'd like to know who came up with this brilliant idea. Not the tabling, the idea of opposing a garbage fee.
Council President, I'm going to refer this to our treasurer because at the same time it's here. This is something that's been discussed. I'm going to go back all the way till 2007, maybe? So Alexis, if you could just explain the
Mrs.
history of
Zak?
this.
Council President, this topic first was discussed back in probably 2007 by our auditors and financial advisors when they were looking at the various utilization of reserves they had recommended that Linden look to do some type of reoccurring revenue. At that time, when it was discussed at the numerous caucus meetings and budget meetings, the governing body at that time decided not to entertain this. As the years went on and we've had declining of surplus and revenues and the need for a reoccurring revenue, this year, because this year seems as if it had been the perfect storm with the budgets of the decline of our general surplus, coupled with the fact of the utilization of all our reserves, we now need a reoccurring revenue. This is something that this governing body introduced in April, and we've had numerous community meetings and have spoken to various community groups and have taken input into it, and you'll see that the governing body is going to probably make a motion to table this for further discussion and further analysis. But it's because the city is in need of a reoccurring revenue, and currently, this is one suggestion that our auditors and financial advisors had suggested to us for years.
Councilman Brown?
Yeah, and Alexis, and I think that's a point, if you could just explain that our financial experts who look at our finances as well as the auditors, this is something that they've recommended not this year, but years prior?
Yes, for years, our financial advisors, along with our auditors, had recommended a reoccurring revenue and to implement some type of garbage surcharge.
So why aren't we voting on it tonight? Why are we tabling it?
So what was the question?
Why aren't we voting on this tonight? It's up for second hearing. Why aren't we voting on it? Why are we tabling it?
Ms. Hira, as you're aware of, because I think you attended 2 of the meetings, one of the things that we're trying to do differently is get more public feedback. There have been questions that have been raised that are very valid, that again, that before introducing anything, my feeling is getting the full information. So therefore, as a result, there's questions from the council as well as from the public, more information that we need to get. I think just like tabling any other ordinance, we'll make sure that we're making the best decision.
It's interesting that you tried to sneak this through on first reading by not even having it listed, to say that you're trying to get more public input.
Ms. Hira,
If I
we
can
have
be a
public-
little cynical.
Ms. Hira, correct me if I'm wrong, all the years that you've been up here and budgets that have been passed, have you ever seen the city of Linden make an effort to go out publicly and have public hearing meetings where we've advertised it on TV 36, as well as council members going door to door to advertise that they are having public meetings? I don't think this was snuck in any way, and I personally attended those meetings, and I try to be upfront and clear and open as possible with the public, and I think the members, as well as residents who attended these meetings, would say that we're not trying to hide anything. It's the exact opposite. We're trying to be as open as possible with this, Ms. Hiro.
And thank you.
Personally, I
3
think it's a
minutes.
sneaky way of getting around Mr. Christie's cap. Thank you for your time.
Council President Moore, if I may.
Councilman Armstead.
Good evening,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Hero. How are you tonight? Just want to let you know, the reason why we tabled this, I mean, this is basically an assessment to the homeowners in this town. And it's going to create a burden to some, I'm quite certain. Before we do something like this, we've got to give it every consideration, okay? Because there's a lot of us on this council who really aren't quite sure of how we should proceed with this. To charge $10 or $15 a month additional monies to every household, we've got to really take a good close look at it and figure out how we can apply, if we are going to do a charge like this, how it doesn't become a tax that just continues to go up every year. We've got a lot of things that we have to look into here, and I think, quite honestly, that we're being fair in tabling this ordinance because many of us on this council really are uncertain as to how we should proceed. And I think, in fairness to the governing body and in fairness to the constituents throughout the city, the best thing for us to do is table it right now.
Oh, no, the best thing you can do is vote this down and save the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Perhaps we will, but let us think about it. Well, that's the purpose of tabling it, is to give it to give you some more consideration. Maybe between now and next month, you can convince us to vote this down instead of come up here and tell us to vote it down.
Council President?
I did at the Boy Scout meeting.
Thank you, Mrs. Hero. Mr. Sheehy.
Why I'm voting to table it is, we're still negotiating with the unions. We have to wait for the decision with the police department, and we have the furlough days. We still haven't figured out the furlough days. So once we figure out the furlough days and work with the unions, then we'll know where we stand with the garbage.
Thank you, Councilman Shi. I can always count on you to tell us the truth. Thank you.
Councilman Kozia?
Thank you, Council President. I'm sorry Ms. Hero left the podium. I just wanted to make mention that as far as your comment on trying to sneak something through, you were present at the meeting that Councilman Colibus and I held at JTG Center. And Mr. Brown was at that meeting. This issue was discussed at length. You were present at the meeting. Mr. Shappy was at the meeting. We didn't have a large turnout, but you were there. You asked questions. So I don't know how you can come up and say that this tried to be snuck through when you were there, you heard it, you were at the last meeting when it was moved the first time, and there it is. It was right in front of everybody the entire way. I agree wholeheartedly with Councilman Armstead. We have to take a look at it further. There are people up here who are not certain about, number one, the validity of the item in total or the dollar figure. So we want to take a further look at it. So you were at the meeting. So to say people tried to sneak it through is incorrect.
On first reading, when you read it from the dais, and it wasn't even on our agenda, that's what I mean by sneaking it through.
Anyone on my right wishes, Mrs. Malik? 3 minutes, please.
On this same issue here for the $10 per residential dwelling, are they going to make any distinction between someone that has, I'm a homeowner, but a single resident in that home versus someone that maybe has 5, 6, 7 people? So are they going to make any distinction on that?
Not by the number of individuals in your household, but it will be based on the number of units that you may have. Like a two-family house would be assessed differently than a one-family house.
No.
No.
I'm just saying for a single family.
The answer is no. The answer is no.
Yeah. If I may, Council President, you bring up a very good point, and that's part of the discussion. Some households may generate a half a can of garbage a week, and some households may generate 7 or 8 cans of garbage a week, and it's that much more of an impact.
Well, that's one of the reasons that we're
That's why
we're tabled this thing. This is a very
inconsistencies.
complex issue here. In fact, we were in council caucus this evening, and one of the things that came up was the senior housing. Now, they are under strict HUD guidelines with regards to how much they can charge per unit. So we felt like, hey, is it fair to assess people who are on very limited incomes in that whole housing authority, to assess them to $15 a unit? And we felt like we've really got to look into this further. So this is one of the reasons that we tabled this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Armstead. Would you come up, please?
Oh, Council President.
Hi, good evening. Don Byer. Yeah, everybody's talking about garbage and garbage. This is really not about garbage or the expense of removing our garbage. It's more about cities in deep doo-doo, and we need money. You can't raise a property tax anymore because the governor put a stop to that. They put a 2% cap. So in order to get more money, you start another tax. So you're going to tax our garbage. Next year, if you need more recurrent revenue, you make it a $20 tax instead of a $10. Snow removal. We only have a certain amount of money budget for snow removal. What if we have a really bad year on snow? Oh, we had a really bad year on snow. We're going to have to start taxing for snow removal. Salt, price of salt went up. We got to start a tax on that. So basically what we're doing is starting another tax to take money from the property owners. You can't do it by property tax, so you're doing it by creating another tax. It has nothing to do with garbage or the price of garbage. My property tax pays for garbage removal. That's all part of your property tax. So why are we charging additional money? Because the city's in deep doo-doo and we need more money. Bottom line. Right?
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Council President?
Councilman Kozia?
Mr. Byer, you're exactly right.
I'm sorry I missed your meeting, and I didn't
No,
get to it.
that's okay. And if you need any information, we're not far from one another, believe me. You're exactly right. And as most people know, some people may know, you probably do, there was an item that was being moved through the legislature to not allow this to be included outside the cap. It died. It never made it through. So I think a lot of municipalities, this one included, thought it would be a good idea to try to raise some revenue with a fee and call it a fee, which would be outside, which was allowable. before it would have been passed and to make it not allowable. But that never did make it through the legislature. It never did pass. But thank you for your thoughts.
I'm
and
just
comments.
trying to make a point to the people out there that really think that, oh, the price of garbage is so expensive to have removed that we have to start paying for it to have it removed. We pay property tax, we pay to have garbage removed, we pay to have snow removed, we pay to have our parks grass cut. We pay a lot of things to our property tax. We need more money, so you start another tax. And that's just my point. I just want people out there to know that this has nothing to do with garbage removal or the price or the cost of removing garbage. This has to do with raising recurrent revenue for the city.
Councilman Brown.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to leave. To your point, is the city in financial trouble? Absolutely. And I think that every meeting we went to, we expressed that. One of the reasons we're also in this, and Jack talked about this briefly last council meeting. Yes, we're trying to offset some of the costs, and I'm not saying whether we do this or not, but when you talk about the removal of trash, no, years ago, the city of Linden did not pay anything for that removal because we had a landfill which we didn't have to pay to dump, which we were bringing some income in. So now all of a sudden, you switch from not only not paying for it and bringing in income to now that income not coming in and now paying for removal. So I mean, that's part of the reason what brought us to this point. Now, another reason why this is being tabled is not just looking at from the expense side and if we can get some concessions, but from the revenue side is we're working with our financial planners to project what are we looking at as far as revenue coming in, what are we looking at as far as our income. Because one of the concerns that residents, and this is the feedback we're getting, and again, we're listening, is they're concerned that this year's $10, next year's $15, next year's $20. And again, so when we're tabling this, it's listening to everything that we've heard, and if this does go through, addressing those concerns. If it doesn't go through, what is our backup plan? Because again, this is something that no one on council is taking lightly. That's why it's not being rushed through. This is why we're having these meetings. And you're right, we are in financial trouble, and in the long term, things are just going to get worse if the council doesn't do anything. We're hearing from my financial experts as far as even our bond rating in the city. We went from 2 years ago, we were stable. This year, we have a negative outlook. Now, all of a sudden, when we go to do capital improvement projects that we need to do, if we drop in our bond rating, we'll be paying more in interest rates, which then gets factored into your taxes that we have to raise. So it's a complicated issue, which no one on council is taking lightly, and we're trying to be upcoming and open as possible with this. And again, you're right, it is a separate tax, and I've been saying this, that it's outside the 2% cap. But this is an option that's only being explored at this point.
Sir?
Good evening, Council. My name's John Roman, 400 Birchwood Road, Linden, New Jersey. I'd like to applaud all of you for tabling this, if that's what you guys are going to do or planned on doing. I think it needs to be talked about a lot more and the taxpayers included.
Could you speak into the microphone? I have a problem.
I believe it should be talked about more. I think the taxpayers should be included in the conversation. Everyone here is worried about, once you guys instate $10, why not $15 next year, $20 the year after? I would ask you, and I believe if the taxpayers are going to allow, or if you guys vote to charge us an extra $10 a month for garbage, I would ask you to, whenever you do the vote, to cap it. You can't touch it for 5 years if that's what you're going to do. I don't care who's on council 5 years from now. You would sit it at 5 years. You can't touch it for 5 years. It'll be at least $10 for 5 years. We obviously need the revenue. It is a large sum of money. Every other city's paying for it. I understand that, and I understand, you guys are desperate to look for money to abide by the governor's 2% cap. But if you're going to do it, please help us out, help the taxpayers out. Tap it. 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. Make it $20, but you can't touch it for 20 years. I mean, whatever you can do, if you can put a year on it where you guys cannot touch it, because next year you might be in the same trouble, you might be looking to do it again, and it's just going to piss us all off a lot more. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Patty Murga. Would you wait a moment? I have
Felice Twaddle, not Patty Murga. That's Felice.
I apologize. Felice?
Good evening. I just want to say about the garbage, $10, Mr. Armstead is saying $10.15. That comes out to $120 versus $150 extra per year. We've already done away with the bulk trash, meaning you can't throw a mattress or a couch. So we're already having to pay a private company to come and pick that up. So that's an increase out of our pocket. I think maybe trying to pick up garbage once a week for 6 months and seeing how much garbage we produce on a once-a-week trial would be more of a benefit to the citizens than to have to come up with another $120 to $150 per year. Not only do we have to come up with that money, but once that money is put into place that we have to pay, this is a lienable item. So if people cannot afford it, they will have a lien against their property. Thank you.
Mr. Bianco?
You're not going to please everybody, but anyway, I don't see where the equity is. I live alone. I didn't even put garbage out last week because I didn't have that much. A neighbor theoretically has 6 cans of garbage, one family house. He's paying the same amount to have his garbage picked up as I am. Where is the equity? That's all.
Anyone else from the Senate wishes to make a comment? Please come up. Three minutes, please.
Good evening. My name is Jean Marie Brigida, and I live at 628 McGilvery Place. Some of the things I'm going to comment on, people already addressed, but I'm just going to read through it so I don't miss anything. I understand by the figures that were showed to us that Linden is in a deficit by millions of dollars. And one of the creative ways to make up for the loss is to institute a surcharge on the garbage and trash. What I am not understanding is how almost halfway through the year we have a financial problem. It concerns me because that means there is not a substantial amount of money set aside as a cushion. We are running lean, which is worrisome because we can't predict another time when there is a Hurricane Sandy, and we hope that the winters are mild but cannot forecast that. So this is really a guessing game on how to allocate funds. Garbage and trash was always factored into our taxes. So how is it now that the city needs to recover this money from the residents of Linden? The word surcharge is a creative way that the city gets around the 2% gap that Governor Christie has in place. Are there any other means to recover this money or lessen the expense to residents other than the surcharge, like possibly looking at recreation or other programs that could generate money that present time do not, or revamp the Public Works calendar? I reviewed the calendar for 2013, and there are 13 holidays, which means instead of sanitation being picked up 2 days apart, there is only 1 day between them, which to me is a waste of a second pickup, because there is not enough accumulation to warrant sending out trucks. Another way to possibly cut back is whenever a holiday falls within a week to suspend the second garbage pickup. This would save us 13 days a year. With regard to trash, we do not need a trash pickup in the dead of winter. Having a pickup in February of this year, to me, was a waste of time sending out trucks and the men needed, because if there is snow on the ground and nowhere to put the trash, and it is too cold to really put out that much. If you need to limit the trash pickups per year in order to save money, then we would need pickups at the end of April or sometime in May, and the other end of October after storm season. We definitely need trash days. 3 a year would be ideal. I am tired of having sewer backups and having to replace rugs all the time. If I have to hold onto this type of debris, it will cause a horrible stench, especially in the summer months, not to mention the bugs, insects it will attract.
30 seconds, please.
Oh, geez. In the meeting that was held at Ward 8, some people spoke about seniors and the fact that they are on a limited income. I would just like to say that regardless of age, we are all on a fixed income. Unless I supplement my income by obtaining a part-time job, we are all on fixed incomes. I also heard some people saying they don't use trash, and I don't have any children, so I don't use the school system. But regardless, we are a city, and these are services that make up our taxes, and you can't start separating everyone's personal issues. Another topic that was brought up was layoffs and health insurance of public workers and their contracts ending this year. The issue here is, do we have too many people on the job at Public Works? I would not like to see any layoffs, but then there has to be a concession on their part in revamping the work schedule based on some of the suggestions I have expressed about cutting back on 2 pickups in a week during a holiday week. And
Thank you.
being,
I have to move on. Because we've got quite a bit there. Anyone else in the middle would wish to make a comment? Anyone on my left? Please come up, sir. 3 minutes, please.
Good evening, all. Dennis Kopecki. I live up on Erudo Street in Ward 1. I think the city government, the mayor, the employees, you, the city council, need to be reminded. I don't think the philosophy of the governor's 2% cap that was placed, I believe, at the end of 2009 is meant to be gotten around. I think the philosophy was more of, let's try to find ways of economizing government by cutting back, not trying to find more ways to spend money and then say, oh, well, gee, we have all these one-arm garbage trucks that we approved last year, but now we got to start charging for garbage 6 months later after we approve it. I don't think so, guys. You're going in the wrong direction. You need to look and see what can be cut back. And I would make my other comment, but I'll save it for later in terms of, hey guys, think about reducing the size of government, not finding more things that all of a sudden we have to put out another charge and get around the governor's 2% cap. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
Thank you. I just want to get clear that this charge is not a matter of being able to spend money because we want to. Right now, we're over the cap by 5.2. All right, so we're trying to do a combination of reducing expenses by negotiations with various unions, but you need a sense of recurring revenue, which again, this isn't something new that's happening this year, but the auditors and our financial planners said you need a sense of recurring revenue. Because down the road, here's one of the issues. We're talking about cutting expenses, and this is something I've been saying at the public meetings, is that it may happen next year if we don't do anything, or the year after, where we're talking about laying off, let's just say, a public works department, right, to reduce our expenses. And here's the snowball effect. There's a snowball effect here. So if we lay off our public works, over 80% of those people live in town here. So now what happens with those guys is that those guys can't pay their mortgages, they can't pay their bills. So now that house winds up being foreclosed, and now all of a sudden, if it forecloses going to short sale, your property values go down. Your property value has an effect on the tax revenue that the city brings in. So now we're cutting our revenue even more. Besides now laying off the people who live in town, who also part of the lowest paid people, is that we have the problem of how we're going to remove trash. So now it's up to the homeowners, and we did a survey, this is part of research, looking at what are private haulers charging, which is outside the city's control. The nearest town around here, the lowest price we found is $25 a month. So now all of a sudden the homeowners are still going to have to pay for trash removal because we don't have a public works department to do that. Now if they can't, we don't have a public works department. Now not only can we not remove the trash, and it's outside of control of how much we could pay, now we talk about snow removal, we're going to have to go outside and bid for snow removal, because those same garbage trucks that we use to pick up trash are the same trucks that we use to plow streets. And then we talk about backup sewers and other services that we provide. All that stuff is going to have to go out and bid. So again, one of the reasons why we're tabling this is that we have to look at it from a cost analysis standpoint, and knowing that whatever we do, it's going to have an effect. If we charge, it's going to be a hardship. If we don't charge, we're talking about possibly sooner down the road laying off a whole department, and then all of a sudden there's snowball effects that come with that. In addition, I forgot to mention, you lay off, we have to appropriate that money, so your taxes are still going to be raised to pay for that in a form of unemployment claims, which happened with the Board of Ed. Board of Ed laid off all those teachers. They had to increase the unemployment line item by $1 million. So this is not something that anyone here on council is taking lightly. We're doing as much research as possible on this. We're surveying other towns. We're listening to council members. We're listening to the public. And it's not a matter of bringing in revenue to be able to spend it, but just to stop the bleeding. Because at this point, what happens in years past, when we were over at a cap, we went into the savings account, the reserve accounts to pay for this. We don't have those reserve accounts, and this is something I've been saying for the last 2 years.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the chambers wishes to speak on the ordinance? I ask for a motion then.
Council President, make a motion to table ordinance 57-25. Can I ask for a second?
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
No.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5724, please.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2-69.4 entitled Police Department Records as follows. Add Section 2-69.4 Fees.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody in the chambers that wish to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I ask for a motion, please.
Council President, make an ordinance for the passage of ordinance 57-24, and ask for a second?
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We're going to move into the consent agenda. All items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless council members or citizens so request. In that event, the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in normal sequence on the agenda. We have items 1 through 7. Anyone on my right wishes to remove anything from the consent agenda? Anyone in the center? Anyone on my left? I'll have a motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move consent agenda items 1 through 7, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead? Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We're going to move into committee reports. I'll ask Councilman Kalabas from the First Ward.
Thank you, Council President. From the engineering report of May 2013, we're happy to report that we recently were notified by the New Jersey Department of Transportation that we will be receiving a grant in the amount of $205,000 to mill and pave sections of East Linden Avenue, Lower Road, and South Park Avenue. This construction is anticipated to begin in the late summer. As reported last month, there's a resolution on for tonight 2013-202 to increase the contract to BlackRock Enterprises by $22,000 to add an additional block of Bradford Avenue to their contract. This will ensure we use up the entire $180,000 of the county grant. As First Ward issues related to issues, I'm asking the traffic department for a study on speeding from DeWitt to Stiles on West Curtis Street. I received numerous complaints over the last couple of months of speeding. I know Mr. Kopechny could attest to that, and the corresponding side street to see what we can do to alleviate the traffic, the speeding, especially people are using the side streets as a way to cut through St. George, and they're blowing right through the street. So I'm asking the traffic department to do a comprehensive study to see how we alleviate this problem. Anybody, First Ward resident with a question or concern can reach me at 908-925-5568. This concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Koziel.
Thank you, Council President. It wasn't a part of my report tonight, but I will make mention and just make mention of what something Councilman McCollivis just said about speeding. A few months back, we had a four-way stop, per my urging and the urging of a lot of people in the area, finally put in at West Henry and DeWitt Street. And I must tell you, I go there, I pass that intersection 3 or 4 times a day. Traffic along the corridor in the Second Ward from the AA field all the way to Blanky Street has slowed down significantly. I don't know what the numbers are as far as any kind of collisions there may or may not have been, but I will tell you this, I think that the residents in the area are safer. I think when cars approach, they follow the law, they're very courteous, and it's been a pleasure to see traffic slow down, so I'm very happy for that. And I want to thank the Police Department Traffic Bureau for their cooperation. The Department of Public Works tree cutting crews are currently in and completing work in the Second Ward. Anyone who still needs a tree trimmed or removed that I may not have seen or noticed, please email me, that's the best way, at councilmankoziel@gmail.com, and I will get right back to you and come out and take a look at what you have. There's been a lot of discussion lately about homes with neglected lawns and grounds. Whether it's neglect or an unoccupied home, please report all properties to me. I catch mostly all of them. We want to get them to our health department directly for inspection. So we can go out there and find out what it is, or contact the homeowner or the respective bank or financial institution who may be in control of the property. But you can call the health department, call me, or email me, or call the health department at 474-8409. For the better part of the last year, we've been waiting for civil service to make a final determination on our request to allow our parking enforcement officials to become code enforcement officials. You may have heard me talking about this when I served as a liaison to the SID committee last year. Under this new title, these individuals can write summonses for additional violations such as littering, illegal dumping, etc. And they're going to be on the avenue and most of our streets anyway, taking a look for traffic violations. They will now be able to write summonses to help keep our city and streetscapes clean. The city's technology committee met this past month to discuss the ongoing progress of the virtual technology system citywide. You heard me speak for months about new computers, which were budgeted for. Some of the new computer units have already been installed, and there is good progress being made. We are looking at a date sometime in July for a full system switchover to the new network. Next week, we plan to meet with a web development firm to review Linden's current website and explore options to redevelop Linden's municipal site, migrate content, and build it in a modern content management system. And again, this money is put aside. There is money there, which is separate from the budget that is earmarked for a project such as this. This past Saturday, I'd like to mention that the Linden Society for Historic Preservation held an event at the Public Library featuring Mr. Alexander Shipley. If that name sounds familiar, it should. Mr. Shipley was a teacher of mine. He taught in Linden for about a little over 10 years, and he then went to teach in Rahway, but he is currently Rahway City Historian and the director of the Merchants and Drovers Tavern Museum. He came to give us a talk and presentation on Linden and our area history, and I'd like to thank all who attended. Many thanks to Lauren Yates and Molly Lenz for their help in organizing the event, and the Society will have a table at Linden September to Remember on Saturday, September 28th. Please stop by. End of report.
Thank you, Councilman Koziel. Councilman Brown?
Yes, thank you. Approval is requested for the following finance actions. The payment of bills totaling $1,110,226.81. The bills have been signed by the mayor, council president, and finance chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colvin?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Just real quick, I want to take this opportunity to thank all the residents that attended the community meetings. We had a number of community meetings within the last couple of months. Council members have set up. the residents who've shown up. I thank you for your feedback, your comments, and your suggestions. They were all very important, and I want residents to know that minutes or notes we're taking, that the council are looking into these issues and ideas that were brought up, and you know, I really appreciate it, and I ask that in the future, when we do hold these meetings, that again, that residents do come, because your input and your ideas and suggestions are valuable. Just like we have a forum here, I believe out there, out in the community, we need to listen more, and there were some great ideas that were thrown around. And a report.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. Councilman Armstead?
Yes, Mr. President, I have the following reports. The following licenses, permits, and transcripts have been issued by the City Clerk's Office during the month of April. The fees received have been turned over to the Treasurer's Office. There were 95 birth, death, and marriage transcripts for $1,425. There were 17 marriage civil union licenses for $425. There were 2 miscellaneous revenues for 78 cents. 278 EDRS vital stats for $4,170, and there were 2 burial permit fees for $10, with a grand total of $6,081.78. The City Clerk's Licensing Division is submitting its monthly report for April 2013. The office issued 628 dog licenses and 68 miscellaneous, and collected $10,536. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Armstead. Councilwoman Cosby Hurley?
Thank you. From the Recycling Committee, Mr. McDonald, you already purchased the recycling cans for the parks, yes? Do we have an ETA on when they're going to arrive in the city? So within 3 weeks, you'll start to see the cans show up in all of our parks. These are cans that are going to help us to enhance our recycling program. All of the sports have already begun, but we want to make sure that we encourage the participants in the sports to discard the plastic bottles that way, so we can, you know, get more revenue from the recycling program. Thank you. What else? Alexander Avenue has been considered for a one-way, and all of the residents have received notification from myself. Alexander from Dill going up to St. George's Avenue, because there's going to be a new 7-Eleven on St. George's Avenue, and this street is a light traffic street. We are waiting to get information back, or approval back actually, from the Department of Transportation. The police department has told me that all we simply need to do is to get that ordinance and done. However, we need to get approval from the Department of Transportation, and I'm hopeful that we can do this for the safety of the residents on the street. There are lots of children there, and also to eliminate the excessive truck traffic. Again, I sent a letter to every individual resident household and have not heard any negative feedback, so I'm looking forward to hopefully having that done for our residents on Alexander. I'm accepting addresses or area locations for our fall tree planting. If you would like to have a tree in your area, please call me, text me, email me. I got your mothers already on my list over there. Because we have to have our tree commission come out, check the area, make sure that it is an acceptable area. And unfortunately, on the Dill Avenue area, we requested trees by Fifth Ward Park, and they can't go where we'd ideally like to have them. So now I have to go back to the neighbors there on Dill Avenue near the park to see if they wouldn't mind having the trees planted near or on their personal property, you know, just so we can have some more shade in that area. So if you would like to have a tree, call me at 908-477-4120, or you can text that number or email rcosbyhurling@linden-nj.org. There was a request that's going to be submitted for Hagel Avenue because there's one block that has no street light on it, and I myself was there walking the area in the evening just to see what the neighbors over there feel, and it is quite dark. There are not enough porch lights to light it up, so I'm submitting a request to Construction Code and Lighting for them to check and see if we can get a street light, which is approximately $24 additional a month, just to help our neighbors with a little light and safety. I want to say congratulations to Vinnie Polakowski. He's a neighbor of ours in the Fifth Ward who completed recently the auxiliary police training. And for those of you on the email list, you know that I did ask to have more auxiliary presence in our neighborhood, because we know the police officers can't be every place, but we do have a complement of auxiliary, and just to have a car rolling, you know, people don't know the difference until they get up close. So we do have more auxiliary officers, and I spoke with Sergeant Williams, and, you know, he's looking forward to scheduling them in couples so they can go out together for their safety and our safety as well. Sidewalks, yay, Fifth Ward, we're gonna get our sidewalks done. We're gonna have sidewalks done on Carolina Avenue. I'm gonna give you the streets, and we know the locations are specific to hazards or issues from Sandy or from trees. So we're gonna have sidewalks done this spring. Carolina Avenue, we're gonna actually install a sidewalk. If you've ever been on Dill Avenue and Garfield, you'll note that the sidewalk actually stops and there's just grass. So we're gonna install a sidewalk there up to Dill. Hagel Avenue, Ingalls Avenue, Mildred Avenue, and Richford Terrace. We're gonna do more in the fall. We're gonna do more on Mildred Avenue, Union Street, East Henry Street, and Caroline Avenue. And there's also one to be done by Public Works, which was a recent tree, which was hit by a vehicle of some sort on Essex Avenue. If you ever have a tree damage your sidewalk in front of your house, give us a call so we can add it to the list for repair. Upcoming events. June 1st, we're gonna have a free cookout for the Fifth Ward residents, and we're also inviting the district children to come because we're doing a Let's Move component, which is First Lady Obama's Let's Move, which we discourage childhood obesity, and Senator Nicholas Scutari is actually going to provide all of the healthy snacks for us. So, you know, the notices are gonna go out to the schools. Bring your children, come out yourself, and just, you know, get more information. We have other sponsors, and we hope that everybody can come out and have a good time on June 1st, and we're starting at 11 o'clock, IOZ Park on Dill Avenue. June 9th, if you know the PNC Arts Center is having a Polish festival, it's free all day. June 9th at the PNC Arts Center. I just thought I'd mention that because a couple of my neighbors said they were going to go, so I wanted to just make sure everybody was aware of it. Our next community meeting is July, and the focus is financial wellness. All of the meeting dates are on the city website, and they're also going on Channel 36. They should be scrolling. Election Day is June the 4th, and I just want everybody to come out and vote so that you can have the representative in your board that is actually representing you and your interests and no other interests. And I want to say, wait until I'm finished. I want to say thank you to everybody who actually called, sent a note or a prayer for my mother with her open heart surgery this weekend, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Sadowski.
Thank you, Council President. A few things. First, they will start work on Route 19 starting around June 24th. They'll be fixing up the road from BJ's into Elizabeth. Also, that's milepost 42.26 to milepost 45.50. Also, a part of 19 near Sylvan Avenue and Avenue C, they will be working on them. They'll be working Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 o'clock during the day, and of course, night work is 9 to 6. So if you use that area, please be ready to have some kind of congestion there. Also, the American Water Company will be flushing the water from the fire hydrant starting May 13th and probably ending around June 21st. They'll be flushing from 8 to 4, excuse me. If you have any discoloration, they said, just let the water settle and it should come back to normal. Okay, with the seniors, I was asked to read this. The Housing Authority, City of Linden, is pleased to announce the opening of their public housing waiting list for senior citizens. Applications are being accepted from May 13th to May 31st between the hours of 9 to 4:30, excluding Saturday and Sundays and holidays. After this, the list will be closed. Applications can be picked up at the Andre Ferguson Towers, 1601 Dill Avenue, Linden. This is the only time in the year that you could apply. So if you're interested, please pick up an application, fill it out so you're on the list. Walking the neighborhood and also receiving phone calls, it's the time of the year where the grass is growing. There are homes where there is no one there or people just don't care. We have a couple of homes right off Woodlawn Avenue. The grass is up to my waist. We walked around, there's a whole list. We called up the Board of Health. They are checking into it, and they are hoping that they could get them cut. But I know of at least 5 in a 6th ward, at least 5. And it must be double or triple throughout the whole town. So please be patient. The Lynx Food Pantry is sponsoring a walkathon on Friday, May 31st, between 9 and 2:30. It will be at Wilson Park, Summit Terrace. Cash and food donations would be greatly accepted if you go into that. This is a good time to exercise out of doors and do something helpful for the community. I was down there just today, and the organization is terrific. People coming in and out, getting the food. This is where you want it to happen. Okay, the other one I have from the dog license. The City of Linden, City Clerk License Division, is reminding residents that all dogs 6 months and older require a license. To obtain a license, a valid rabies vaccination receipt is required. The fees are $13 on spayed and neutered dogs, $10 for dogs spayed, neutered. A written proof is required. The license can be obtained in the City Hall Clerk's Office, 2nd floor in City Hall. If you have any questions, please call them up, but they are asking that, please, if you have a dog, it must be licensed. And ending up, over the last week or week and a half, I forget what it was, I see him standing in the back. We opened up the soccer field at Wheeler Park. It was, I think, 2 Saturdays ago. We had all the children there. We had some officials from the county and from the city. The field is beautiful. It's what you dream a field should be like. It was opened up. There was a game between the children and some of the officials, the mayor, myself, and so on. I'm happy to say we all came out of it, nothing broken. But George, I want to thank you for the hard work you did to get it, and I'm sure the residents and the teams will be proud of it. So George, thank you. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sheehy.
Thank you, Council President. From the Public Works Department, our metal pickup, we received $1,581 this month from Fortune Metals. We actually received $5,750 for our newspapers and recyclables. In our electronics, we received $1,324. All right. I'd like to finally congratulate the city for fixing the light on Wood Avenue and 12th Street. It only took it 3 months to get the signal light fixed, and thank God no one got hurt or killed there. I'd like to thank the police department for helping me out with the truck problem that we've been having. Since we've closed Lower Road for that detour, the truck problem, you wouldn't believe what we have to live with down there with these trucks. The bridge on Lower Road, which causes this truck problem, will be out for at least another week. But once the bridge is repaired, then we're going to work on the railroad tracks there. We can't do them both at the same time. There wasn't enough room there. So we're looking at least another two to 3 weeks of Lower Road having a detour. And we will be paving Lower Road, and we will be paving East 20th Street. And we have received $55,000 was allotted to us to work on the Westbrook, to do a study, and I feel we the study, my input is, we could use some retention ponds throughout the town to curb the speed of the water that's coming in our direction. And, let's see here. The Mayor's Youth Commission. The Mayor's Youth Commission every year runs the graduation bash. This year, we need help. We need volunteers. Please, anybody that can volunteer for graduation night, call this number, please. 510-0007. And that concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sheehy. Mrs. Cosby Hurley, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Councilman Sheehy, that 908 area code? The number?
Yes, it's 908.
Could you read?
510-0007. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Councilwoman Yamakaitis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll start off with the Personnel Committee report. Approval is requested for the following personnel actions. In the Police Department, Division of Central Dispatch, the acceptance of Dennis Benichuk's resignation as a public safety telecommunicator trainee effective May 4th, 2013. Number 2, the termination of all student assistants in the City of Linden effective June 1st, 2013. Number 3, the acceptance of the MOUs for the Fire Department concessions for the year 2013 for the FMBA number 34, number 234, and the Deputy Fire Chiefs. Number 4, the approval of the seasonal list for the Division of Recreation for the spring and summer programs. The list is on file in the Treasurer's office. Number 5, in the Public Property and Community Services Department, the approval of an unpaid FMLA leave of absence for Dennis Keefe from May 15, 2013 through August 31, 2013. Number 6, in the Public Property and Community Services Department, the approval for an unpaid FMLA leave of absence for Anthony DeCosmo from May 8, 2013 to July 31, 2013. Number 7, in the Municipal Court, the unpaid FMLA leave of absence for Grace Baginski from May 14, 2013 through May 24, 2013. Number 8, in the Fire Department, the paid FMLA leave of absence for Joseph Rizzo from May 2, 2013 to July 1, 2013. Number 9, in the Fire Department, the paid FMLA leave of absence for Jeffrey McNair from April 29, 2013 to July 1, 2013. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski? Sheehy?
He's excused for a moment.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mr. Sheehy?
I'm sorry, I forgot something. In the 7th Ward, we just had a lot of gas lines done, and the project isn't finished because we're going to start, on June 1st, we're going to start doing the water lines. So there's some, say, shoddy work on the gas lines that hasn't been fully repaired. They will come back and fix it all once the water lines are done. You'll see blue markings in the street, and we're going to be doing the water lines in the 7th Ward starting June 1st. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehy. Before I ask Mr. Medina to give his report, I'd like to remind anybody in the chambers to sign the sheet if you wish to speak at the end of the meeting. Mr.
I didn't finish my report.
Mrs. Yamakaitis.
Thank you. I'd just like to reiterate on something Mr. Sadowski brought up because it really affects some of the residents in my ward. The City of Linden received notification from the New Jersey DOT that the state will be cleaning the catch basins, installing handicap ramps, milling, and paving Route 1 and 9 from the Elizabeth border to Route 278. The project is anticipated to start in June and be completed in September. All the work will occur during the day, but unfortunately, the milling and paving will have to be done from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. I attended a meeting last week with regards to the Missing Link project. It was something that we've heard numerous times in the 8th Ward and are eagerly looking forward to. Tonight, there is a resolution on the agenda for a memorandum of understanding between the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the New Jersey DOT, and the City of Linden for the Stage 1 design of the I-278 Route 1 and 9 interchange improvements. I was invited to attend this meeting with Mr. Stefanowitz to give input to regards to what traffic issues are occurring in the 8th Ward. The main point I stressed is that the residents want to see the traffic, particularly the truck traffic, removed from Park Avenue, as well as give us some relief on the highway at the intersections to cross. And I also requested that the ward be kept up to date and receive notifications if any ground testing or anything of that nature is going to occur, to avoid any rumors of the highway taking properties or putting a lane down Allen Street. These are some of the rumors that had occurred. I'll keep you informed on this as we get more information. As Councilman Colibus had mentioned, we also got some good news that South Park Avenue will be paved sometime this summer. Also on tonight's agenda is a resolution to change the name of St. Mark's Park to the Dorothy Curry Ford Park. I request my colleagues on council to please support this resolution. Mrs. Ford was a legend in her own right. You see people wanting to call themselves community activists or helpers just to advance their own agendas and obtain recognition and awards. Mrs. Ford was not about that. She preferred to be just one of the crowd and to get the message out for people. Dorothy Ford was all about the community and keeping our neighborhoods and the city a safe place to live and raise a family. And I must make mention that with the Memorial Day weekend coming up, I want to give a special thanks to 8th Ward resident Al Strydeski and former councilman Al Youngblood. Mr. Strydeski plants flowers at the 8th Ward Monument each year and always tidies it up. And Mr. Youngblood, with some of the problems we've had with the issues after Hurricane Sandy, we've had problems with our lawn mowing equipment and public works, so they have been behind on the parks. Mr. Youngblood stepped up and weed whacked and cut the grass at Wanda Green Park and also cut grass. So I'd just like to say a special thank you to them and a special get well wish to one of my young residents, Paul Coates III, who was just released from the hospital this past weekend. Wishing the best for a speedy recovery. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Yarmakaitis, and good luck with your personal physical problems. Councilman Medina?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Good evening for everyone at home watching. I have a brief report, but I do have a couple things that I just want to make mention. I also just want to thank everyone that came out to our joint community meeting last week on the 13th. We had a 9th and 10th Ward joint community meeting, so anyone here that attended or is watching from home, thank you. We just finally adopted the ordinance for the overnight residential parking permit for the side streets along Northwood Avenue in the 9th Ward. That's going to improve the quality of life for those folks over there, and it means a lot to them. We're talking about over almost 200 households that's going to see a big difference in their neighborhood. Hopefully in the next couple of months, we're going to have to roll it out, provide a timetable, and it doesn't happen overnight, but I was glad that we were able to get this passed, improve the quality of life for some of these neighbors, and this will definitely alleviate the problem for the patrons from Central Parks and the residents from Roselle that cross over to the Linden side and create trouble. So just want to make mention that and just thank everyone here on the dais for supporting me and the residents on the 9th Ward on that. We heard earlier on DeWitt Street is getting better. Unfortunately, DeWitt Terrace in the 9th Ward side was getting a little bit better. We had the police presence there, and like I said, it can't be there 24 hours. Unfortunately, I just found out that there was a couple of accidents on DeWitt, one involving a teacher on Springfield on DeWitt, which is 1 block away from School 10, where the teacher was going. There was a couple of them on Orchard Terrace. Again, I just want to remind people, summer's here. For some reason, when it's hotter, people drive a little faster. I don't know, because maybe they don't have AC and they just want to roll down the windows. I don't know. I don't get it. So I really encourage everyone, spread the word, talk to your neighbors, just be safe on the road. Not only in the 9th Ward, 10th Ward, everywhere in the city, and of course, across the state as well. We want to be safe this summer. We want to be here. Another thing on my agenda here, just to touch on that DeWitt, I will be working with the traffic department. Hopefully, they'll put some presence down on Springfield Road and DeWitt as well. So I will be discussing that with traffic. And hopefully, overall, we could find a permanent solution for DeWitt Terrace. Like I mentioned in my March council meeting, unfortunately, DeWitt Terrace is just a high-volume road. From St. George to Raritan Road, it's just a high-volume road. Four-way stop sign's not going to work there. It'll just cause a bottleneck and a lot of congestion there. So I am working closely with our traffic department, and hopefully we'll find a solution for that. In the next couple of months, actually starting in June, I'm going to be starting a new campaign. I'm sorry, everyone, I ordered pretty late, but it's these lawn signs that are going to go on your lawn. Actually, if you go down Orchard Terrace on the corner of Harvard, there's one of our neighbors have a lawn sign that says, "Drive like your kids live here." I'm actually going to be purchasing 2 dozen of those. I'm going to start a campaign. I'm going to start a list, and we're going to rotate them throughout the ward, just to, again, just put awareness out. It's all about keeping our children safe, as well as yourself safe when you're jogging, riding your bike, or whatever. So that will be starting in June. Tree planting, give me a call. I have a couple on the list. Give me a call, shoot me an email, and I will definitely put you on the list. Another thing that we're having a problem in the Ninth Ward is people not curbing their dogs. Again, I know this sounds ridiculous, but you see someone out there not doing the right thing, pick up the phone, call the non-emergency line. I don't encourage anyone to tap anyone's shoulder or go approach them, but if you see something, say something. We're trying to keep our neighborhood clean. It's also a health concern as well, so please try to curb your dog and keep our street clean. Lastly, I've been going out to the parks, especially Sunnyside Park. Now it's warmer. A lot of kids are out there playing basketball, using our courts, and it's great. Our Public Works Department actually installed an additional bin, a recycling bin. What's been happening, the kids just throw the water bottle, Gatorade, or whatever it is on the lawn, and seriously, 5 feet away, there's a waste receptacle. So I have taken the initiative and just gone out there. When I see a group of kids playing, I approach them, tell them who I am, very friendly, just tell them, listen guys, please just throw your bottles in the recyclables or waste receptacles, just keep the park clean. And it's actually been working. I would say 95% of the time, they're complying and they're throwing away their trash. So again, it's all about communication and keeping our parks clean and keeping up our quality of life in the Ninth Ward and throughout the city. Lastly, my newsletter will be going out next week to all the Ninth Ward residents. And if anyone has any questions, you can give me a call, 908-986-6100, or you can shoot me an email, amedina@linden-nj.org, or you can like us on the Linden Ninth Ward Facebook. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Adam Konczynski.
Thank you, Council President. From the Construction Code, in April, the Construction Code issued 238 permits and 115 certificates and collected $71,745 in fees for the month. I also, from the Fire Department, I had the honor of attending the NJFMBA Valor Awards on April 20th, and I think this really speaks well for Linden. I was humbled to be there and to hear these stories of our firefighters. And I would just like to read the summaries of these events. I think it's very important to know because this is actually where your tax dollars go. So I think this is a very important thing to read to you to let you know what actually happened. So they've received the award for, we received 2 awards. One was the group effort for medical. It was Captain Ed Kushner, firefighter Michael Anderson, firefighter James Massaro, firefighter Michael Cassidy, and firefighter Raymond Johns. October 11th, 2012, at 11:37 in the morning, Engine 3 was dispatched to a report of chest pains on McGilvery Place. On arrival, they found their patient in the rear seat of the family car because the family was going to attempt to take him to the hospital. At that time, their patient had no pulse and was not breathing. Engine 3 crew immediately removed from the car to the ground and initiated CPR. At this time, Captain Kushner notified dispatch of a code in progress requesting the LFD ambulance and hospital paramedics. With the ambulance just clearing from another call and a few minutes away and no other ambulance available, the engine crew continued CPR and had shocked the patient with a defibrillator. Upon arrival of the Linden Fire Department ambulance, Engine 3 was notified there were no paramedic units available. The decision was made to transport the patient without paramedics and continue CPR while en route to the hospital. After arrival at the emergency room of Trinitas Hospital, the patient had regained his pulse and was breathing on his own. If it were not for the quick actions and decisions of the Linden Fire Department crew, the patient would not be alive and well today. And the second award was the EMS Medal of Distinction. It went to firefighter EMT Thomas Anguilla and firefighter EMT Matthew Berlinski. On October 7, 2012, at approximately 11:43 in the morning, the Linden Fire Department ambulance responded with EMTs Thomas Anguilla and Matthew Berlinski, along with Engine 3, to a report of a woman unconscious and not breathing located at the BJ's Wholesale Club. Returning from the hospital at the time of the call, the ambulance was located at the intersection just outside the store, making their arrival time a mere 24 seconds. The firefighters encountered a distraught young woman who stated that her mother was not breathing in the back of their car. The crew immediately did an assessment of the patient, confirming that she was non-responsive and not breathing. They removed the patient from the vehicle to the stretcher and placed her on the back of the ambulance, away from onlookers and the patient's distraught daughter and father. CPR was started and a defibrillator was applied. While establishing an airway, Anguilla found a large piece of food obstructing the patient's airway and removed the blockage. While Berlinski performed chest compressions, Anguilla delivered rescue breaths via a bag valve mask with oxygen. Firefighters from the engine company assisted by driving the ambulance while Anguilla and Berlinski worked on the patient. They were finally able to meet a paramedic unit while en route and continued care to the emergency room. 4 days later, the patient was still in intensive care and was recovering from her cardiac arrest. So right there are literally 2 lives that were saved. And, you know, the firefighters did their part, but also, as a city, I've said this before, anytime a city firefighter, police officer, what have you, does something, you should also feel a part of that, because it's your contributions to our tax pool that allow these professionals to do their job. So I thought it was very important to put that out there to let you know that our firefighters and EMTs are being recognized, and they also perform some pretty huge duties when called. Leading into another safety issue on Stiles Street. If you live on North Stiles or around North Stiles Street, you'll see there's a sign there, a traffic sign, now warning of your speed. This is the first step in increased enforcement of the area. This is something that over the last few months, talking to residents on Elmwood, Fernwood, Birchwood, all those different roads, Midvale, Haven, Stockton, Willick, all those roads, about reckless driving. I've said this before to people that talk to me, that it's almost like a needle in a haystack. You know, it's like I live on Livingston. Car speeds down my road, I call the cops and say, hey, a car just sped down my road. By the time the cops come by, the car's long gone. What I started thinking about was where are these cars coming from? Unless they're organic, coming from our neighbors, which we would probably know, they're coming from an entry point into Linden. And it seems like an entry point from just my sitting there and watching appears to be the North Stiles Street, Raritan Road corner intersection of our ward, where these cars are coming in and then turning down Elmwood, turning down the side streets, going down Raritan, what have you. So it's the hope of, instead of chasing the rabbit around the field, maybe put our hunting dog right next to the hole where the rabbit comes out of. It's that kind of mentality. You know, hopefully it'll save one officer stopping somebody there is easier than chasing 3 guys that might have done something if they got by. So we're going to see how that goes. If you live in the area, please be cognizant now that there is increased enforcement there, but be happy about it. If you get pulled over, maybe you should say thank you, because they're actually there trying to protect you and the neighbors. And I think we have a very large influx of younger children or families in the area now as well, so please be very cognizant of that. That leads me into maybe the other spectrum, the flim-flam scam artists that go door to door and try to usually prey on the elderly. We've had this problem last year. When the weather gets warm, it happens all over the place. Our wards are no different. I've been in contact with the utility companies. I'm trying to get them to be proactive and give me some kind of, either get together with me and maybe make some kind of program available, maybe have them fund some sort of packet I can hand out to individuals to help the people that are more suspect to this have a little reminders nearby or something like that. So hopefully within the next month or 2 we'll have something more on that. But in the meantime, please don't ever feel intimidated to open your door. Speaking to everyone. Everyone. Doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do for a living, anything. Don't ever feel intimidated to open your door. If you're not comfortable, don't do it. Along the same lines with the firefighters, when I said this is your tax dollars, call the emergency line, the non-emergency line of the police department. That's your tax service. Call them, 474-8500, and simply say, There's someone at my door I'm not comfortable with that's claiming to be a utility worker. Okay? Don't ever open your door if you're not comfortable. Okay? And then after that's all done, call me and let me know how it went. Did the police respond fast enough? Did they not respond fast enough? Whatever happened, let me know. But call them first and then call me and let me know, okay? Councilman Sadowski also touched on this about links and their walkathon. I had the ability or the opportunity to visit this month, and I was humbled by the volunteerism and the hard work of everybody there. So please, if you have the time, the money, what have you, please support this organization. The people that work there are very, very hardworking and very deserving of our support. And the two other things kind of go hand in hand here. Trimming of the trees, I think Councilman Koziel said they're in the 2nd Ward right now. The list is still being compiled for the 10th Ward. If you have them, please send them along. I'll be sure to put you on the list, come out there and check. If it's an emergency situation, hopefully we can get it done sooner than later. But I'm no tree expert, but we send out our tree expert to actually check after I look at it initially. And I also submitted a new list, or I compiled a new list, which I'm going to submit tomorrow, of the overgrown and vacant properties in the 10th Ward. I had about a list of 10 today, and one actually got mowed today. If I see there actually somebody living there, I go and knock, and I say, hey, you know what, maybe you want to do this. And it actually works. Usually it doesn't work. Usually people just say, sure, I'll do it, and they never do it. But this person actually did it, so it's great. But there are some vacant lots, and we're having some issues with that, but they go along to the Board of Health. Please feel free to let me know if you see a property. I'm sure I've already reported it, but it couldn't hurt. It always helps for me to report again that, hey, we're getting more complaints about a property, so please don't hesitate. And I want to thank everybody for coming out, as Councilman Medina said, to our meeting. If you didn't have a chance to come out, you can give me a call. I've already dropped off a few presentations to the people that don't have computers. If you have a computer, I have it on councilmanadam.com as the presentation there, along with the link to the proposed budget for 2013. And if you have any questions, concerns, what have you, A. Kaczynski at linden-nj.org. My telephone is 908-463-9234. And that concludes my report, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor Gabunka, you have a report for us?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Council President. I'd like to just briefly piggyback a little bit on what 6th Ward Councilman Sadowski mentioned. A couple of weeks ago, we had a ribbon-cutting ceremony in Wheeler Park. It was hosted by our own freeholder, Chris Hudak, and we celebrated the opening of that soccer field. It's a beautiful soccer field in Wheeler Park by Stiles Street. It's also considered a multi-purpose field because they have a baseball diamond there also, and it's comparable to any major league soccer stadium. It's something that we all should be proud of, and I just have to give credit to one individual who for many years had the perseverance and hard work to make this happen, and that was the former president of Linden Youth Soccer League, George Alvarez. He was the driving force behind getting that soccer field built, and I commend him for it, and it's going to be an asset for Linden Youth for years and years to come. I also would just like to mention and commend, if you've seen on the Personnel Committee report, there was an acceptance by the City of Linden of a memorandum of understanding between us and FMBA Superior Officer President Haskell and FMBA Superior President Lukenda in regards to concessions to the City of Linden. They are the only union that gave a concession so far to the City of Linden to work with us to get us out of this financial crisis that we're in, and I'd just like to publicly thank the FMBA and the two presidents for the hard work and support that they've given the city. Also, I've directed the police department, and I want everybody to be aware of that we're going to be, and the parking officers too, that we're going to be strictly enforcing 2-hour parking on Wood Avenue. This is an issue that's getting worse and worse. It's compounded by the store owners and their employees who just continually feed the meter. I don't understand the logic behind it. When you're a store owner, you want to have parking for your customers. You don't want to take up these valuable spots, but it seems like that's what they do, and so we are strictly enforcing it, so make sure that you don't keep feeding the meter. I also have a lot of good news. Infinium gave us $2,000 for the summer concert series. That's going to be starting shortly, and again, we enjoy that for various concerts throughout the summer. We've also received $25,000 from New Star. That's to be applied to our Hawkeye Sanctuary, the 1.5-mile walkway. That's a nature trail around our landfill. Again, they were generous to provide $25,000 to the city of Linden for an amenity that we're going to see what we could use it for. If you remember, if you've noticed, if you're a commuter in our railroad station, we've rehabilitated the entire interior of the railroad station, put 2 brand-new bathrooms in it, put new benches, cleaned the floors. This was all done with a grant that we received in 2011 from the Department of Transportation for Transit Village. We were designated as only the 23rd city in the state of New Jersey to receive Transit Village status. It took us 4 years of hard work to get it, and what that is to encourage the use of the New Jersey Transit rail line into Newark, New York, by young professionals. And we're going to be painting the outside also with that $100,000 and doing some landscaping. That was money we received in 2011. On May 1st, I just received great news from the Department of Transportation saying that the City of Linden has been selected for a $600,000 Transit Village grant to be used again for streetscaping and sprucing up around the New Jersey Transit Railroad Station. So we're looking closely into seeing how to best use that money. We have 3 years to use it, and I received that on May 1st. On May 3rd, I wrote a thank you letter to the Department of Transportation and Commissioner Simpson, saying that it come at a perfect time because we're in the process of building a 5-story, 174-unit apartment house in Southwood Avenue on the south side of the train station, and we're building 98 condominiums on the north side, and it's just a perfect time to spruce up our train station. Again, that was May 3rd, 2 days after we received that $600,000 grant, and I would like to think, although I can't prove it, that because of that letter on May 3rd, on May 13th, the Department of Transportation gave us another $295,000 for Phase 3 of the improvements. So we've gotten close to $1 million. You're going to start seeing a lot of improvements around our train station. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but we do have that $100,000 that we're going to be sprucing up and landscaping, and then we're going to decide what best uses there are for the rest of that money. So as you could see, we do have some positive issues coming in Linden, and you're going to see a different city around that train station come next year, I promise you that. End of report, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for all your hard work on the Transit Village and receiving the money. I'd like to move it to resolutions 2013-194 through 2013-225. Public comments will be permitted on specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions, which have been prepared by the City Clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Does anybody wish to remove a resolution on 194 to 225 on my right? Ms. Fiera? 194, 196, 204, and 225. On my right? In the center, please. On my left?
Mr.
Brown?
President?
Councilman Brown?
Yeah, I just want to pull 220, for discussion, so people understand what's going on.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would like to also have Resolution 223 tabled. I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Pull it for discussion.
194, Pat Hero.
Wait, we need a motion on the rest of it. Everything.
I'm sorry, Pat, before you speak, I need a motion for the remainders that are not going to be spoken. Yeah, you can split it. Motion, please, for the
Okay,
remainders.
I would move for the approval of resolutions 194 through 225, with the exceptions of 194, 196, 203, 204, and 225.
And Mr. Brown asked for 220.
220.
Mr. Brown asked for 220.
And 204.
We got 204.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown? Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
I would like to vote yes on all of them except for 2013, 214. On this one, I am voting no. And the reason I'm voting no is, after considering this matter and weighing the pros and cons, talking to our constituents, I've come to the decision that I'm afraid the layoff of all these police officers would jeopardize the safety of the people as well as the safety of the police officers serving this town. I would not want any resident or policeman to get hurt because we don't have enough police force on the streets. They go on a call. If we do not have enough policemen there, possibly there's no one to back them up. They can be hurt, or a citizen can be hurt. Safety for the city is essential, so I am voting no.
Mr. Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
I would like to abstain on 214 and yes on the rest.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero, 194.
Okay, I have two questions on 194.
3 minutes, please.
I'll do my best. One is, do we have to have, we have the grant and aid. Do we have to put up money in order to receive the grant and aid?
Mrs. Zach?
Ms. Hero, actually, the grant and aid we will be receiving from the state, so it's part of the ordinance. The ordinance allows us to appropriate the funds, and then we offset it once we receive the grant and aid, which we've already received notification that we will be getting this $205,000. That's why we're amending the capital budget to include that grant and aid.
Right, what I'm just saying, though, is, do we have to put up money before we get the grant, or is it just, we get a grant
No.
and we could spend it?
We get the grant and we spend it. We don't have to front that money.
Okay, because I would suggest maybe we just do the resurfacing that's covered by the grant and aid. That would save us a considerable amount of money on this one. Thank you. And the other one is, what is the $1 million redevelopment of St. George Avenue here?
The one, Council President?
Madam Treasurer?
The $1 million is in reference to the St. George's Avenue redevelopment project known as Morningstar. This was something that had been, the city had done a note through the Union County Improvement Authority back in 2010 to demolish dilapidated buildings From that time, we've been using the Improvement Authority as a mechanism for the note, and it's been in the best interest of the city by our financial advisors and our bond counsel to now take that debt into the city because the redeveloper has not repaid that outstanding amount. Therefore, the city is now going to take over that debt obligation. So we have to do this through a bond ordinance.
Which is why government doesn't belong in the redevelopment business. Thank you.
And thank you. Motion, please, on
I move for
190.
approval of Resolution 2013-194 and ask for a second.
Somebody has a hand raised.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kuzio?
Yes.
Brown? Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Has everybody in the chamber had an opportunity to sign the sheet, wishes to make a comment? You have? You want to? Okay, just give us your name, and I'll put you on the list. And what number resolutions wish you?
204 and 5731.
204 and 5731.
Hit 204.
What are the numbers, Mr. Moore?
204.
196.
204.
That's it.
It's already pulled out, so.
Pat Hero on 196.
What is a self-examination of the 2013 budget?
I apologize. I have a motion for
She wants to speak.
194.
She did
Okay.
194, we just voted.
That's okay, vote. You can vote.
Pat Hero, please, at 196.
What's a self-examination of the 2013 budget?
Madam Treasurer?
Yes, Council President. The resolution allows, the Department of Community Affairs allows certain municipalities every 3 years that they can have the chief financial officer certify certain criteria under their rigid guidelines of the Division of Local Government Services that our budget's compliant with certain criteria. This resolution allows me to certify that the budget is being done in accordance with the Division of Local Government Services, and that I'm certifying that there are certain items that are appropriate and included into this budget. We are eligible to be self-reviewed this year through this examination. Next year, we will be reviewed by the state of New Jersey. It's every 3 years that you're allowed to be reviewed.
Oh, that'll be exciting to be reviewed by the state of New Jersey. I'm personally looking forward to that one. Thank you.
May I have a motion, please?
I move for approval of Resolution 2013-196 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Kuzio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski? Mr. Moore?
Yes. Councilman Brown, 203.
No.
It's 204.
Mr. Brown wanted 220.
Pat Hero, 204.
203.
And then you.
This concerns a resolution authorizing the amendment to the agreement appointing McManaman and Scotland as special redevelopment litigation counsel to represent the city in the various redevelopment matters. There is an ongoing need of services not to exceed $5,831, and now the total expenditures comes to $148,331. If the private sector was involved, the taxpayer would be paying nothing. That's why government doesn't belong in the redevelopment business. Thank you.
Sir, would you come up and state your name, and you have 3 minutes?
Louis Braxton. Basically, I'd like to know about this bond that was posted by Morningstar.
Are you referring to 2013-204?
Yes, I believe I
Nothing to do
am.
with that.
Because this particular,
That's about legal fees.
say that again?
It's got the wrong one.
Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to do just 57. I want to do 5731. I saw it.
7:30. He's talking about.
Should I wait for that? or-
Yes.
Yes.
We're doing resolution.
Council President, real quick.
Mr. Brown?
Is your question in regards to, does this legal fee have something to do with the Southwood Avenue project? I'm not Southwood Avenue project, with the St. George?
Project, yes.
Okay. Lex, Lex, I'm sure, or John, I guess the question is, does this have something to do with the St. George project?
McMahon and Scotland represents us on a number of redevelopment matters, from the Southwood Avenue to ISP to the St. George's Avenue redevelopment, and it's possible that some of this fee is for that particular item.
Okay, but didn't Morningstar, because that's their project, did they post a bond? Because
No.
they never did the work.
No.
And why not?
Morningstar,
But, Mayor?
Morningstar was, we borrowed the money, $1 million, for Morningstar, and they were supposed to pay us back, and now we're in litigation with them about that $1 million.
Okay, because they have, I guess Morningstar's in the same project, because it's all in the same area. They have vacant buildings. Okay.
Now, this is, again, we're talking about McManaman and Scotland, who's our attorneys for Morningstar, ISP, and Southwood Avenue redevelopment. They are the ones representing us on all three of these matters that have been, we have been involved in from the previous administration since 2005. So
Okay,
that's what this issue is about, to compensate them for the legal services on all three of those matters.
So we're recouping our money, is that what you're saying?
No, that has nothing to do with that. We're talking about the redevelopment of ISP property, Southwood Avenue property, and Morningstar.
Well, I'm concerned about the St. George project, where all the houses were torn down and nothing's has been done, trees torn down?
Because at this point in time, we are in litigation with Morningstar, and they, Scotland and McManaman, represent us as one of the three entities Morningstar is the litigant on.
So, in other words, we're taking them to court to recoup our money, the city's money, that we borrowed for.
You're taking a limited liability corporation to court. Has nothing to do with the church.
I'm not going after the church, I'm going after the project that they were supposed to do.
Well, that's why we're in court, sir.
And so you are trying to recoup city money because you put up the money, yes?
Correct.
Not you per se, but the
Correct.
previous administration.
Correct.
And so we're trying to recoup the money.
Correct.
Thank you.
Pat Harrod, did you get a chance to speak on 204?
Yes.
All right. Motion, please.
I move for approval of Resolution 2013-204 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kuzio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling? Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero, 220.
Council President, I pulled that.
I'm sorry. 25.
Yeah.
It's been pulled.
No, I asked for 220 to be pulled so that we give the opportunity for our tax collector, and if the treasurer wants to jump in about this, on Jones Act. One of the feedbacks that we were getting in community meetings And just like we were talking about today's creative ways of bringing in revenue and looking at other avenues of what else we're doing, this is something that's new to Linden that we're looking to do. So I wanted the tax assessors to take the opportunity to explain this. Because just like the public is asking, you know, what are we doing to decrease expenses, looking at other avenues to bring in some revenue. So, Stacy, can you explain this a little?
Hi. As everyone's aware, we are financially struggling and we're looking for creative ways to get our money in. There are numerous municipally held liens in the city which we are not receiving any funds for. So the state has enacted many years ago a Jones Act. It's a statute that requires any municipally held liens can go up for auction for less than what they're due. Now, we held this lien. Last month we had a resolution. It was Resolution 2013-188 that was approved that allowed me to hold this sale. There were 40 items. We had 14 bids. 13 should be accepted, and we will receive $21,000 of monies that we had not received. That also brings in possible revenue of $500,000 this year alone. As well as in the future, these properties will be required to be foreclosed on within 2 years by these restricted assignment lien holders, and they'll be back on the tax rolls. They'll no longer be a burden for us, as we have to pay school taxes, county taxes requiring, regardless of whether or not we've received the money.
So to summarize, so basically what we're trying to do is, there's properties out there where we're not currently getting property taxes for.
Yes.
You know, property taxes that go back even to the 80s.
1989, to be exact.
And so what we're trying to do is get these properties back on a tax roll where we're bringing in some sort of revenue.
Yes.
This Jones Act allows us to do that. And again, this is something we haven't done before, something creative. Our tax collector has brought this up. But again, I want the public to know we're exploring every avenue to get revenue in. And this is something that's unique, creative, and in a sense, the state gives us the ability to do it, so we're going to utilize this. So I don't know if anybody had any questions from the public in regards to this.
Any further questions on, from the audience? If not, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Which one was this?
On 220.
I move for approval of resolution, was it 220? And ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero on 225.
Mrs. Ford, I sure could use you now. Unfortunately, she is no longer with us. I can think of some biblical comments, but I may have to save them for next week. But, you know, we honor our prophets when they are gone, but we did not pay much attention to them, unfortunately, when they were alive. But when Mrs. Ford walked in, oh, that was something special, because when you knew when Mrs. Ford walked in, she would give you her opinion. She would tell it like it was. She was always trying to make the community a better place. Even if some people on the council may not have always liked what Mrs. Ford had to say, she would give you her opinion, and you always knew it came straight from the heart. Unfortunately, we've lost Mrs. Ford, and we've lost Mr. Workmeister, but they are unique. But everybody has the opportunity to follow in their footsteps, because they also are unique. Everyone who comes to the podium has their own opinions and their own ideas. And as we can see Mrs. Ford being honored and Mr. Workmeister being honored, maybe someday one of you will come to the podium and be honored too, because we need civic activists now more than ever, because our city is in trouble. And we need you people out there more than ever. So don't be afraid to come out and speak your mind. Mrs. Ford did, and now we're honoring her. And maybe someday you'll be honored and appreciate it. Like I said, I sure could use her now, because every time she walked into that room, I was so happy to see her. So thank you for honoring her. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
I move for approval of resolution 2013-225 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. The council, in order to consider public input and to propose ordinance, will allow 3 minutes for each individual to speak on ordinance on first reading. Council will not answer any questions, and everybody is reminded that the public hearing on these ordinances will be held next month's council meeting. And ordinance 5726.
An ordinance extending rent control in the city of Linden for the period of April 19, 2012 to April 18, 2014.
Any comments from public? Anybody wish to give you your input? If not,
I move for the introduction of ordinance 57-26 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski? Mr. Moore?
yes, 5727.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-12 Parking Time Limited shall be amended as follows. Add to 7-12.1 2-hour parking, Morningside Avenue and Summit Terrace. Delete from 7-15.1D parking decals, Summit Terrace. Add to 7-15.1D teacher permit parking only, Summit Terrace.
Anyone wishes to make comment on that one? Seeing none, I ask for a motion, please.
Council President, I ask for introduction on ordinance 57-27, seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, 5728.
Bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various items of capital equipment for the Linden Police Department, appropriating $841,500, and authorizing the issuance of $799,425 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Any public comments from people in the chambers here? Seeing none, I ask for a motion.
Council President, make a motion for the introduction of ordinance 57-28 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, 5729, please.
Bond ordinance authorizing various capital improvements for the engineering department, appropriating $605,000 and authorizing the issuance of $380,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Any comments from the public? Motion, please.
Mr. President, I ask that ordinance 57-29 be introduced and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, 5730.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic shall be amended as follows. 7-33 Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A Handicap Parking on Street, delete 315 West Stimson Avenue.
Comments from members of the public? Motion, please.
I move for the introduction of ordinance 57-30 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, 5731.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $1 million for financing a portion of the cost of the redevelopment project located on St. George Avenue, and authorizing the issuance of $950,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Public comments, please. Public comments, would you please come up? 5731.
Hi, Gretchen Hickey, 615 Inwood Road. I just wanted a little more explanation. Is this the redevelopment project, the Morning Star?
This is an introduction, and we are not allowed to answer questions on it. It's the purpose of the public to give us input.
But what kind of input can I give if you won't give me any information on it?
Mr. President? Can I ask Alexis?
She could input at the adoption of this.
Yeah, but what is it? She's trying to ask a question about specifically what it is. Can I give her a copy of what we have in our packet or no? Yeah?
Mr.
Okay.
McCarthy?
Well, I just wanted to compare this with the other one as far as the attorney fees before. They were representing us for this property. But if I don't know the proper terminology here, but is this saying that you guys, next month, you're going to bring back about paying off this debt and it to be finished? Or are we going to be...
You have to read it. We're not allowed to answer you right now, unfortunately.
Not right now, right?
Not right now.
So what I'm saying is, then, is this just wiped out, or are they going to be responsible to pay us back for the monies they borrowed?
That's what we'll be doing throughout the month, is discussing
Is
this.
discussing it. So then next month it'll be on.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the introduction of ordinance 57-31 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5732.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $45,900 for the purchase and conversion of a van into an animal control transport vehicle for the Board of Health Department and authorizing the issuance of $43,605 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Members, comments from members in the audience? Seeing none, I ask for a motion, please.
Mr. Council President, I move for the introduction of ordinance 5732 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziel?
No.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We move into the comments from members of the public in attendance on city business only. Comments not to exceed 5 minutes. And I'll ask Louis Martin from 1202 East St. George Avenue. Is he in the house?
Louis Braxton.
I'm sorry, Louis Braxton. Three minutes, please.
I'm just kind of upset that not the way the council's handling things, because
I just got here.
you're up against a wall, okay?
Can you talk into the mic, please, sir?
We're broke.
Okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the thing is that there's money laying around, and we have tiddled with people for years, owing us money, and now we decide to get off, and I use we, decide to get off our duffs and try and get the money, okay? But everybody knew about this project. Houses were torn down, people had to relocate, people had to be paid to relocate, which is more money gone. And the thing is that the same people have houses that need to be taxed. They have a vacant building, and we're still losing. Why don't we take the buildings and the property that they have?
Pat Hero.
Pat Hero, Wheat Chief Road. Last month, Councilman Koziel said he had had it with me, that I've been doing the same song and dance for the last 9 years. You can only imagine how I must feel. When the day that I warned you about would come, if changes were not made, Now that day has come. That brings me no joy. The mayor has never had enough votes on council to get his agenda passed. Councilman Sheehy has done a magnificent, great job in fighting for the taxpayers. But unfortunately, too many of you have chosen to oppose the mayor's agenda. One example, Judge DeLeo. Now Councilman Koziel. While it is true that I do not have the understated eloquence of Mr. Joe Bianco, the great family tradition of civic activism that Ms. Virginia Malik continues with excellence, nor the polished presence of Ms. Jacqueline Williams, I do have something that you could benefit from, my own opinion. Indeed, it is dangerous for you as a member of the governing body to attack someone who appears at the podium to offer their opinion in the manner you did. It is hard enough to get the public to come to the podium to offer their opinion. By doing what you did, it serves as a chilling effect for others who are already intimidated by public speaking. People will not speak up if they feel they might be attacked by a member of the governing body. I already heard one person say that with regard to what you did to me. And we all lose out from great ideas that are not offered because the governing body does not have all knowledge and wisdom or a monopoly of good ideas. Indeed, our founding fathers thought so much of citizens approaching the government that in the First Amendment, they made sure to mention it. You would think freedom of speech would have covered it, but our founding fathers made it specific, the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. As long as my grievances have not been redressed, I will continue to speak. And maybe it's good that you are not running for re-election and will finish out your term, because anyone who presents to represent, who is authorized to represent the American people or the citizens of Linden and does not care to listen to them or wants to shut them down does not deserve to be in government. Thank you for your time.
Council President.
Councilman Koziel.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hero, we are available all the time. We're not just available on nights of council meetings in front of a microphone and in front of TV cameras. You heard at the meeting that Councilman Calabas and I had. We are available by phone, by internet, however, you could come to my door and express your feelings if you want to. I'm not sorry for what I said. I am sorry for the way you took it. And I meant what I said. I'm not sorry for it. You could come up and say whatever you'd like, and we are here to listen. But if I feel that after so many times of being told or being explained, for the same questions to come up over and over again on the night of a council meeting, when you can call us and contact us anytime, that was the point I was trying to get across. I'm sorry you felt that way.
Let me explain why I don't do that. You're busy, I'm busy. You all lead incredibly busy lives. You have families, you have jobs, you have this to do.
But we
It makes it
always
so
say-
much easier
we
for
say-
us all to be together, and we all have.
But we say every month we are available online, by phone, call us, contact us. I've told you that countless numbers of times.
If I choose to do it here, I will choose to do it here to
That's-
save you time and to
that's-
save us time.
And that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay? But that's, like I said,
I'm sorry you took it that way.
thank you. Well, just as long as you remember you represent us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hero. Paul Coates.
Paul Coates, 1107 Passaic Avenue.
3 minutes, please.
Mayor, Council President, and Council, I couldn't understand about the Morning Star situation and why we are responsible to pay a debt that's gone bad, for a deal that's gone bad. How much have this cost the city of Linden, including lawyer fees, Mr. Mayor?
Going back in 2005, there was a plan by the previous administration to commit to Phase 2 of the St. George Avenue redevelopment plan. Phase 1 was Popeyes and Advanced Auto Store. Phase 2 was the redevelopment of the two-block area from the Advanced Auto Store to the railroad tracks from St. George to Union Street. The administration and governing body at that time declared Morningstar Limited Liability Corporation as the redeveloper. And we went into contract with them for the ability to purchase the properties from the homeowners and then sell it to Morningstar so that they could modernize that 2 blocks with a shopping mall, at that time a bank. To make a long story short, after the city of Linden committed $5 million for that project, Morningstar couldn't get refinancing. So, or I shouldn't say refinance, couldn't get financing for their project. We tried to work with them, my administration tried to work with them for a couple of years. They couldn't get financing. What we had then is buildings that were abandoned and boarded up. And so we had to borrow another $1 million so that we wouldn't have a Chicago fire at that location to be able to demolish those buildings. And that's what we did. We borrowed that extra $1 million because in the original contract, our commitment was only $5 million, and anything over that, Morningstar would have been obligated to pick up. Of course, they couldn't do it. We borrowed $1 million. We knocked the dilapidated and uninhabitable buildings down for public safety, and now we're in litigation with Morningstar to regain that $1 million. We've already got a favorable court ruling that we have the right to redevelop that property. The point is that it did cost us $5 million, but we are going after the $1 million, which is the obligation of Morningstar Limited Liability Corporation, and that's where we presently stand. And that's why we are appropriating monies for legal counsel to get that money back.
Okay, which council member should we thank for agreeing to this deal without securing the financials?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, sir.
So which council member should we thank for agreeing to this deal without securing this financial of Morningstar?
Without
securing the financial for Morningstar, without finding out the finance and why this deal went bad.
Well, it went bad because they didn't have the financing. No bank would lend them the money to do it.
So now the city and the taxpayer has to take on that responsibility.
Well, we own the property now, and again, we're looking at developers to try to redevelop that property. As a matter of fact, the state of New Jersey, myself and Ron Stefanowicz went down to Trenton, and the Department of Community Affairs, Commissioner Constable, has given us free of charge 4 or 5 people to plan what we could do with that property, where by February or March of 2014, they are going to present us with a plan on how to have a public-private partnership. In other words, we're looking at not just the city of Linden putting up money to build buildings or build a shopping center, but we're looking at getting the private entities involved. So if we have a building where we could have, say, specifically a police station or a justice complex, that part of the cost would be provided by a private-public partnership where you would have some state agency in there. Union County has shown an interest to occupy part of the building for the social services building that is currently in a dilapidated building on East St. George's Avenue. So this is what the Free State Planning Commission is going to explore and present to us by 2014 of February or March, their approach on how we could have a public-private partnership to develop that property.
Thank you.
Gene Barsel from McGillivray Place. Sorry.
I would just like to finish my trash and garbage if I can.
Please. 3 minutes.
Okay. Where I left off was, we need to be smarter about scheduling garbage, which will save money. Depending on how many people are in the DPW, it could be rotated, and it may mean furloughs, but that is better than laying off workers. Right now, at present, all their health benefits, I understand, are paid, and they do not contribute to the cost and expense of health insurance. This could be a reason the city is going in the red, because those perks do not exist anymore in the private sector and now in government. So when the contracts are up, I understand there will be a consideration of their contribution to health benefits, which would help offset the rising cost of health insurance the city pays. Another topic that was brought up at our board meeting was the one-armed garbage truck. Just the name made me vision exactly what this truck is capable of doing. To me, it would mean limit the men needed on the DPW, which is something we do not want to have done, and the cost to purchase, lease these trucks, the repairs, the insurance, and what would be required for special garbage cans. Really, is that a priority? Or would be putting our resources into law enforcement to upgrade technology to be a wiser decision? We need to start prioritizing what is needed and vital in order to run this city, and a one-armed garbage truck does not seem like a priority. I hope someone would view this in another city and see the pros and cons, but if you are asking the residents to pay a surcharge for garbage, absolutely no to investing in new trucks. I also heard about privatizing sanitation. I grew up in a county that had privatized sanitation. It was very cost-effective. We still had our DPW for everything other than sanitation, trash, and every Thursday you could put trash out to the curb. It was a wonderful thing. I think Linden should recalculate what it currently costs and have bids submitted for garbage and trash, as I believe it will save more money than people are saying it will. This would only be for garbage and/or trash. Everything else would remain intact with the Department of Public Works. I think the one-armed truck should be put on hold. Lastly, the handsheet that we were given listed the charges per month of the surcharge on family homes, and I do not understand why commercial is only being charged $30. If you would increase the commercial by $20, that would generate an additional $215,520 and bring the amount over $1 million for the balance of the 6 months for 2013. Also, who is going to monitor that these surcharges are paid? And I hope it is given to an existing division of the city and not creating more jobs, because we as residents cannot continue to absorb these type of increases. I can tell you that my taxes are over $1,000 a month, and pretty soon I won't be able to afford to remain in Linden. There are other cities with the same services we have and lower taxes. Something needs to be done to protect not just city workers, but the residents of Linden. The way the Public Works has a contract, I think if this surcharge passes, that there should be a stipulation that there is to be no increases to these figures, and hopefully this is only temporary until more ratables come into our town. I and many others will have to make personal sacrifices to cover this surcharge. If you know that these surcharges are going to start out small and then increase next year, I hope that you will vote no, because we as residents have been supporting all of city government, and we should not be held accountable to get this city back in the black. That is the job of our elected officials to do. So please find another way to balance the budget. If you can't find any other means, then I hope there is consideration to the residents of Linden, no increases once this goes into effect. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter Brown, Mr. Brown?
Thank you.
Councilman Brown?
You brought up a lot of points in your statement. One of them, and so you see the direction that the council's heading in, and again, it's about stabilizing property taxes, which in turn stabilize expenses and things like that. So one example you gave is the garbage trucks, which you're opposed. The reason why the council's moving in the direction of the one-armed garbage truck, and Jack can explain this, is one, is that we already have a reduction in our public works. And we say this over and over again, where we're not down 30 men, we're down by over 30%. And so we feel that rather than hire, and when we're paying the health insurance, the pension, all this other stuff, by going to the one-armed bandit truck, you have one individual who's able to pick up this trash, which also helps us reduce our worker comp insurance, which we've seen is on the rise. Now, you compare that to making investments in the police department. We just read on the introduction, 27-58, where we're making a huge investments in the police department, and this is something I've committed to the police department, and the mayor was with me when we sat with the police chief, where we're upgrading their CAD software program. We're upgrading their fleet that hasn't been upgraded in years. We're also upgrading their computer software. And I explained this, I'm not sure if you were at that budget meeting, but since we're having this reduction in our manpower, you have to supplement that with your technology. The one thing that the private sector has done well is that when you're reducing your manpower, you're supplementing that with your technology parts so that you can provide the same services, or if not more, and be just as efficient. So I want you to understand that the one-armed bandit truck is not a matter of one replacing or laying off workers, but being able to provide those services and reduce our costs that are associated with some of these expenses. We already have less men already.
Would you come to the microphone? Because they can't hear you at home.
On one hand, you state that you're worried about the city worker who, if he loses his job, foreclosure, can't pay his bills, it had that trickling, that trickle effect.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not saying that. So the one-armed bandit truck would make me think people would be losing their jobs.
But that's the whole
But whether
point,
they're
we're
a
not.
city worker or not, the residents of Linden, whether you work for the city or you don't, I could go into foreclosure. You know what I'm saying? So we need to protect everybody.
But I'm confused. Again, no one's being laid off. This is to supplement the reduction that we already have.
but we're in a
Years ago, right, one-armed bandit trucks were talked about. And one of the pushback was that you would have to lay off people in public works. We're not at the point of worrying about laying off. Public Works is coming, knocking on their door almost every day, saying they need men, they need men. So right now, you currently have 3 or 4 people on a garbage truck. So rather than hire people, which we see that we were 44% of our budget is being spent just on salaries, and then taking consideration, I think it was either 11 or 12% is being spent on your health insurance, workers' comp, and those other things, and then that's talk about the pension, which is added, is that you supplement that again with a one-armed bandit truck, because right now we are short dramatically in our public works
So
department.
how many trucks would we need?
Right now, Jack, can you answer that?
We have 13 garbage trucks. 13 garbage trucks right now.
And I'm sorry, and Jack can go into that. The added benefit is too, we have an older fleet, which every couple of years, we order new garbage trucks, because now look at the cost of repairing these. We spend thousands of dollars, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, repairing these, putting new tires on, everything else like that. At this point, and Jack can explain, that's savings that we're looking at as well.
But this is why the schedule needs to be revamped. You have the trucks that go out twice a week, and maybe during the winter
I'd like to ask Mr. Sheehy
months
to
could
respond
go-
to that.
We've been looking at these one-armed garbage trucks for 4 or 5 years, okay? And what put us over the edge with these garbage trucks is the insurance. These guys get hurt all the time. And what happens, honestly, I'll tell you the truth. What happens in the city of Linden, we're actually going to look forward to, when you, bear with me here, when you work for a company and you get a holiday, so you have to get paid for that holiday, you got to work the day before the holiday and the day after the holiday. Okay, in the city of Linden, we're going to change the law now that you have to work 2 days after the holiday because these guys don't come to work. So what happens is, because the garbage is heavier on those 2 days after the holiday because we missed a day, okay? So now what happens is we put older men and women on the garbage truck, people up in their 40s, 50s, and 60s on the back of the garbage truck, and they get hurt. And what happened is, our insurance went up $1 million. For the last 3 years, our insurance, we're not even gonna be able to get insurance sooner or later, to be truthful. So what really put us over the edge with the one-armed garbage truck is the insurance. The insurance commission came to us and really put us over the edge. Plus, this is the time to buy these trucks. They're perfected now. When they first came out, they had problems with them. You could only put them in planned communities. Now, you couldn't have trees, you couldn't have wires, you couldn't even have cars parked on the street. Now, these one-armed trucks, to reach out and pick the can right up over the top of a parked car. So we did a lot of research into this. We're not this, jumping into this. Plus, we're the only town in the world that I know of, well, I shouldn't say world, I'm sorry, in Union County that has 3 guys on a garbage truck. I've been saying for the last 5 years that we have the wrong type of garbage trucks. Most towns have the garbage truck with the bus door, where the driver just steps in and steps out. But for some reason, we keep buying the same old conventional cab truck where the driver climbs up in there and the driver's in there all day. He doesn't get out because it's too much work to get in and out. You take any other town, they have a picker on the back and a driver. In the city of Linden, why, I don't know, but we have 2 pickers and a driver. And I agree with your statement you said before. We've had the same garbage schedule for the last 50 years. It's time to change up. But we're in this culture where we're doing it the best possible way and nobody's going to change. Well, it's time to change. We should have changed. Now we're getting recycling pickup, cardboard pickup. I've been saying for years, we don't need the second day of the week pickup. We should have did that before we charging for trash. We don't need the second day pickup anymore because you're basically getting, between your cardboard and your recyclings, you're getting 2 pickups a day. And, go out any day of the week and look at your second day of the week pickup. There's not much out there. Maybe every 3rd house has a small can. And I believe that we can go without the second day of the week pickup.
So if you believe that,
yes,
and you're hearing it from the public, why isn't it being looked at or being done?
It's been talked about. Talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. It's all that happens.
But I understand in the summertime or the warmer months, you want to have, I could see the 2 pickups because of what the garbage attracts and everything. But for the cooler months and the colder months, I don't understand the 2 pickups. The other thing...
I'm going to ask Mr. Brown to comment on that.
Just real quick, because Jack, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
By going to these one-armed garbage trucks, we can change the schedule because they can hold more. These containers right now can hold 90, and that's the whole point, is also addressing that we can change the schedule where these containers can hold more solid waste, and we can move the schedule. So again, and I understand your concerns. Jack has been very good at addressing a lot of these. And again, these one-armed bandit trucks, it's a lot of issues that we're trying to fit into utilizing this truck, and the schedule is one of these.
Okay, so until the...
Gene, can
Are you going to cut me off again?
Well, I gave you triple time here.
Listen, at least I'm not being disgruntled or,
We appreciate you, Ms. Jean.
I'm sorry?
We appreciate your comments.
One thing, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but one thing
Jack
said about the insurance, so then maybe we should look at privatizing just the sanitation part of it. Get the liability off of Linden. Take the insurance that we're paying, because you got to factor in all the costs, calculate what comprises this part of the pickup for the garbage, and it may be less expensive for the town to privatize.
Gene, did you have an opportunity to attend any of the budget meetings that the councils did throughout the town?
Unfortunately, no, but I am going to start attending more because the only reason why I started, and I've been in Linden 16 years, but I came from Bergen County, is when now it's affecting me financially. My taxes are over $1,000 a month. Now they're talking about surcharges. Now it's a time to start attending and getting involved and being aware of what's
Great.
going on.
That's great. Very good. Mr. Armstead?
I just wanted to add that, you talked about privatizing the garbage. Once you privatize, you essentially give up control for what you're going to be paying a month. Now, a private hauler can come in and say he wants to charge you $50 a month to take your garbage away. And I think our whole intent is to try to avoid that scenario. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is that one of the biggest costs that is associated with garbage removal is something that we refer to as a tipping fee. It's not so much the manpower that costs us money, it's what we have to pay to dispose of our garbage. And that's an area that we need to focus on with regards to trying to effectuate some savings.
But when you have bids out there and people bid, and like where I came from, Mealy Sanitation and other, it's pretty cost effective. You have to do the math. You have somebody really has to study it, the gas involved and everything. I don't know. But we have to find a way to save money. And you say no to privatizing, but it's really, it needs to be, I think, looked into.
Thank you very much. John Roman?
John Roman, Summit Street, 3 minutes, right, with visual effects. The Linden surplus, gone. Linden student jobs, gone. Seniors, speechless. Layoffs and furloughs coming. You've eliminated one high salary job in the city of Linden. Look, now you're looking into getting rid of the lower salary employees. And new taxes are still coming up. There are some people in the city of Linden making money. The people hanging these signs. Okay? I buy homes in Linden, they're going cheap. Free advertisement, and I bet whoever he or she is it'll be online with these tax liens as well. Someone should do something about this, or see if the person hanging these signs could use some help. Maybe he or she could hire some of the students this summer. Some of the elected officials here have no clue. Some of the government need to change with the times. The elected officials need to change laws or the way they think, not to create new ways to hit the taxpayer with more taxes. We lost the volunteer ambulance service in the city of Linden. I know that the firemen have been running that service and doing a good job. Maybe they're doing too good of a job, because I hear we might be losing, some of them to layoffs, or even if concessions are made. Chief, he's not here today. I don't know if he had a hand in the taking over of the ambulance service, but I am sure an elected official did. And remember, when you make a deal with the devil, you usually get the horns. Thank you.
Susan Hudak?
Oh, geez, come on.
Good evening. I'm Susan Hudak, 16 Robinwood Terrace. I would like to thank Councilman Medina and the council for the overnight permit parking that is going to be put into place in 9-4. It is going to affect the quality of our lives and the safety of our lives. We'll be able to park by our houses at night and all throughout the day, because a lot of times those cars are parked many hours on our street. We can't even park in front of our house. So I thank you for providing that for us. And as a member of the Board of Education, I would like to invite the council and the community to come next week to the promenade. I'm very proud of our students, and it will be our all-city concert. It includes our orchestra, our bands, all throughout the elementary, middle school, and the high school, our chorus. And we're also going to have our arts, which will be out and displayed at the promenade at 6:30, and the concert starts at 7. I promise you a great evening. You'll be very proud of what you spend with your taxpayer dollar and see the great talent that our kids have in our district. So again, I extend to you that chance to come see our kids. If you have, it's next Wednesday,
What
May
time?
29th.
What
At
time?
6:30 is the arts. You could see all the arts that the students have been doing, and then you'll see the concert.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. John Francis Roman?
John Francis Roman, 400 Birchwood Road, Linden, New Jersey. No relation to
John, my neighbor. I lived in Linden every day of my 25 years. I have a bunch of things to say to you guys. I'd like to first start by thanking Councilman 10th Ward and 9th Ward for hosting that meeting last week, 2 weeks ago. I hope we have a lot more of them because we need them. More people showed up to that meeting than are here today, and we need to keep that going. My father moved to Linden in 1986, looking for a better life. He is now permanently disabled, confined to a chair 20 hours a day, 22 hours a day. GM, where he worked for 26 years, is no longer here in Linden. They went bankrupt, they cut his pension. He's on a fixed living, a fixed income, and we can't afford to be here anymore. Our house is falling apart because we can't afford to repair it. You know, $11,000 in taxes a year is just, it's more than we got. And you guys are up here, and I applaud all of you because you guys have the hardest job in the world. You actually have to be up here and be hated by an entire city because you have no other option. You have to find, you know, the money, and it's hard. It's really a hard job to do. This garbage thing, $10 a month, $15 a month, $20 a month. You know, you guys are pretty much just going around the governor's law of keeping at a 2% cap. You don't have any other choice, and I get it. You know, a lot of people are going to be angry, but our property taxes would have raised $300-400 anyway, just like you do every year. So I'm asking you that when you sit here and talk about in your budget meetings, please put a cap on it. Please do it for Linden. You guys know you don't want to do it, but you don't have a choice. Put a cap on it, 5 years. You can't touch it. You know, a year from now, 2 years from now, you're going to wish you never did it. At least you did it when you had the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Henry Mack?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. President of City Council, and I must say to the Chief of Police in the city of Linden, I bring to you greetings from the peoples of Linden. I bring greetings to you, Mayor, Mr. President, and Chief of Police. The people told me to tell you that they are impressed with the service you did over the last, what's today's date?
21.
The month that you have served Linden this month. We want to thank you, Chief of Police, that you escorted pioneers. I remind you, Chief, and the people told me to tell you, Chief, that they thank you. Mr. Mayor, the people told me to tell you they are grateful for your kindness to mankind. Mr. President, the people told me to tell you that you humbled yourself to all mankind. Ladies and gentlemen of City Council, I heard y'all attentively, and I heard the people attentively. I have good news for you. Because Peter Brown has told me he's doing the best that he can to save humanity for the city of Linden. Jack Sheehan told me
What'd I tell you?
told you, buddy, that he's doing the best that he can on St. George Avenue. That's what Jack told me. That's what he told me. And all of you, that's why I said to you, honorably you. But my bottom line that the people, I didn't say it. Please be advised. I didn't say it. The people told me, to come tell you.
Henry, 30 seconds.
Thank you. Please carry on. And let's do the right thing for all mankind.
Okay.
Because they're getting a little bit, just a little bit, tired of us debating amongst ourselves and what the foundation that our forefathers laid. The people told me to tell you that. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry.
I can't recall that conversation.
The following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting Monday, June 17th, 2013, at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting. Tuesday, June 18th, 2013, at 6 p.m. in the council conference room. Council meeting Tuesday, June 18th, 2013, at 7 p.m. in the council conference chambers, City Hall, 301 North Wood Avenue. Ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
The second. Second.
Mr. Colbus, Dozio, Brown, Armstead. Crosby, Hurling, Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina, Kaczynski, Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Yes? Yes?
Get that, please.